something just happened, and it was real bad. And I asked my wife, "Did you hear that?" She said, "Yep." So I rolled back over, "Paya!" Again. I'm like, "Oh no, that's not good." So I go for X-rays, find out screw broke right away. So doctor said, "You gotta go back in and fix it. My back will not heal." So I got surgery Thursday again.
Coming up? Okay.
This Thursday coming up again to fix those screws that broke right away.
So nothing's going to slow you down. I mean, you're here in Columbus, Ohio. I'd be home watching the webcast right now.
No, I wouldn't miss this for the world. I mean, the Arnold Classic is one of the greatest bodybuilding events ever. So
I can't believe you actually made it out here, man. Right after the surgery.
They were honoring the past winners, and I like a chance for me to hang out with my buds and my buddies. Gotta go.
Well, Vlad, you are working on the Ronnie Coleman story here. Tell us about that process in terms of what you captured through Ronnie Coleman's career.
Well, Ronnie Coleman, to me, obviously a living legend, and I think it's fair to say that Ronnie Coleman is the best bodybuilder of all time. This is the Michael Jordan of bodybuilding, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, people have opinions, but I think it's fair to say that he's the best of all time. And the film is covering his life story. It's the first official film covering his life story. And also, the most importantly, it covers his current situation, what he's going through. Surgeries, a variety of different surgeries, and what he's been through and what he's still going currently. So it's a story of his life, and also what the fight he's going through right now.
Right, and Kai Green, you were coming up pretty much on the tail end of Ronnie's career. How did you see him fit into the economy of your preparation for competition and how you viewed bodybuilding?
Man, everybody, when I was coming up, everybody wanted to be Ronnie Coleman. There's a lot of, myself included, there was a shrine that I had actually on my step mill in my little apartment in New York, Brooklyn, with Ronnie Coleman standing from the rear, lights out. I used to talk to it. I had a personal relationship with my own version of Ronnie Coleman in my room.
There too, don't
I remember Ronnie Coleman, the '92 Olympia,
don't lie about it.
where you were like dead last.
Well, what Kai telling you that we also looked up to Sean Ray too. If you go back to the '98 Olympia, I ain't never told you this, and I probably never told nobody else this, but '98 Olympia, the routine that I did was the routine you did in one Olympia, and I copied it pretty much pose for pose.
And I never, where's my money? What the heck? What's going on? Well, I saw you.
We get inspiration from everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Paying it forward.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I want to say.
Who was the guy when you were coming up? Because clearly you were a cop for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I know your story. You said you were a pizza delivery guy, and got a gym membership.
Yep.
If you were going to compete through Brian Dobson.
Yep.
And did you ever think on any level that it was going to take you to where it has taken you now?
Had no idea. I only got into this sport because Brian told me to give me a free membership to the gym. I was working full-time for the police department, so I didn't really care anything about bodybuilding because I didn't need bodybuilding for anything because, like I said, working full-time, I was making quite a bit of money, and I had some few jobs on the side. So bodybuilding has always been like a hobby for me, something that I enjoyed doing. So, of course, I'm always trying to be the very best I can at everything that I do, and I'm very competitive at everything I do. Even when I was in college, I was always the smartest guy in the class. If I wasn't the smartest, then I studied with the smartest. Same thing when I got to bodybuilding. I didn't know that much about it, but Flex Wheeler at the time was very good. Kevin LeBron at the time was very good. So those were the guys that I got with and learned from. So Flex kind of taught me just about everything I know, him and Kevin both.
Yeah, thanks, Flex and Kevin. Thank you very much. Vlad, what did you learn, besides him being one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, about Ronnie Coleman, the man?
I got to be honest, very inspirational. This is the man that's going through extreme pain on daily basis. Like, I'm talking about every day he's in pain. And I asked him, Ronnie, like, basically on a level of 1 to 10, how much in pain are you? He said about 9.5. And to go through it every day, but still have a smile on his face, still take care of the kids, the wife, the whole family, obviously, he has a, large family, obviously, and still go to the gym with the pain, training legs. When I saw that, and also he doesn't have any type of any type of shame at all. He goes out to the gym, works out, takes off his shirt, poses, whatever. It still goes hard. Lightweight for real, yeah. So to see that was so inspirational because I know so many bodybuilders feel so concerned about how they look all the time. You know, they kind of, you know, they're not into that like that. So Ronnie was very inspirational to me.
And Ronnie, before you retired, you were actually the winningest professional bodybuilder in the history to go along with the 8 Olympia titles. You're also the only Mr. Olympia to win the Arnold Classic, and you won it the same calendar year that you won the Mr. Olympia in 2001. Tell me how hard that actually was for you.
That was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. Matter of fact, I think it almost cost me my life.
Yeah.
On the morning of the show, I remember getting up, and I tried to take a step toward the bathroom, but I couldn't get out of bed. I'm like, uh-oh, something's wrong. I was that tired and I was that exhausted. So I know my body. I've had this body for, you know, at the time about 38 years. So I'm like, something's wrong. So I called my nutrition. I said, hey, I'm going to the hospital. I felt like I kind of felt like I was dying, you know, but what I was going through was exhaustion because I was trying to do 2 shows in 1 year, you know. Body ain't gonna peak but 1 time a year. So he said, no, man, you done worked too hard for that. He said, grab a gallon of water and drink as much as you could. So I grabbed a gallon of water and I drank the whole thing. And I felt good enough to go on stage and get second to Jay Cutler.
Wow, okay.
At the morning show.
That's right.
And finally at night show, get some of that water out of my system and win the show.
Yeah, and Kai, we know a thing or two about pushing it to the limit. Bodybuilding is a very extreme competition, and Sean Roden actually pumped his brake and stepped back. He had the flu, went to the doctor, found out he had some ulcers. So have you ever been to the brink like Ronnie Coleman? He pushed right through it?
Well, you know what? I think that's something that a lot of people, or very few people, get a chance to really come to terms with. I think, you know, it's one of those things where we think we work very hard, but by comparison to somebody else, you know, maybe not.
Right.
I've pushed very hard in my career, you know, but, you know, I still have never, you know, been anything close to a Ronnie Coleman. And
Let me clarify that for Sean. This is the toughest sport on the planet Earth. Period. Nothing else is tougher than what we do. Trust me on that.
Because you can never really stop.
And I've done that.
Right. You got to push yourself through the diet and the sleep deprivation and the traveling. And you got a big target on your back when you got all these Olympia titles. So now we're here. We're a fan. We're watching. I know you got your supplement line. It's global, like Rich Gaspari. How do you enjoy the show when you're watching it now? Is it still taking you back to when you were young, wanting to be the pro bodybuilder?
Yep. Well, I still enjoy the sport and I still enjoy bodybuilding because it's something that, you know, I've been through, I've done, I've achieved a whole lot. You know, bodybuilding has given me a whole lot and I owe a whole lot to the sport. So I'm always trying my best to give back in any way that I possibly can. So I always try to come to as many shows as I can, show my support to all the guys because I know, you know, this is the sport that's the lowest of the totem pole. So all the support that we can give back, all the better bodybuilding can be.
And Vlad, with Generation Iron exposing the life and times of Ronnie Coleman, that's come to a completion now. Is that thing ready?
Yes,
wrapped it up?
We're still working on it, but today we're premiering the first teaser trailer worldwide. So this is the day when people are going to see the first sneak peek at the film. And the film is going to be, it's called Ronnie Coleman the King, first of all. Yep. And it's coming out at some time, you know, later this year. And so
I was going to ask Ronnie, how was that experience for you? Because now you're an open book. It seems like you've always been. You are not bashful when it comes to being the world's strongest bodybuilder. And one of the statements that you made about one of your injuries was you had one regret. And what was that regret you said?
I was getting ready to squat 800 pounds, and I'd never done it before in my life. But I knew I wanted to do 2 reps because I did 2 reps doing the deadlift. So I got up under there. First rep was real light. I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that. So I said, I'm going to go a little bit low on this second rep. Maybe that's going to take something more out of me. So I went a little bit low on that second rep, and it was still light, but I had 2 in my mind, so I racked it. As soon as I racked it, I was like, oh, man, I could have got 5.
Nice.
And till this day, I'm still regretting that because I didn't get that 5, which I knew I had in my body to do, but I just didn't have it in my mind.
Well, Kai, isn't that what we're talking about when we say the differences of thinking that we push ourselves and you got somebody over here that you squatting 800 pounds and the regret that you did 5 reps?
Yeah, that's absolutely unbelievable. It's one of those stories where, and you know, I wanted to be a Ronnie Coleman as a teenager, going to the gym training. I can recall just really using that as a point of reference to gauge everything else that I would do with my career going forward. You know, it's like watching champions like that. It's just so inspiring on so many other levels that help you kind of tap into your absolute best and maybe push you further than you would have on your own.
Absolutely. Ronnie, let's speak to this competition right now. Like, when you're watching it, are you rooting for somebody like Dexter because he's the older guy, or somebody like William Bonek who's coming up and making a footprint, or someone like Dennis Wolf who's making a comeback from the injuries? How do you see this contest?
Well, when I'm watching the show, I root for just about every guy up there, because I know how much hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and all that they put through it. So I'm not really rooting for one particular guy. I'm just rooting for. I don't know. There can always be only one winner. Right. So I'm just rooting for everybody to do good for the most part. You know, all right. It's a hard sport.
Vlad, how do you see the competition shaping up tonight?
I think the prejudging was actually very interesting, right? There was very strong top four, right? I mean, Rulli looked amazing, huge. Dexter looked amazing as always. So it's going to be a great competition, man.
Generation Iron's mission, I want to get that out there. Generation Iron's mission is what? Because he came out with Generation Iron, the movie, right, which covered the journey to the Mr. Olympia, and part two pretty much covered the social aspect of people getting involved in the sport. Now there's Generation Iron 3 in the works. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're shooting that right now all over the world. It's going to be a global film. We really want to try to bring to the surface different movements of bodybuilding around different countries. And it's very different across the world. You know, some have emerging economies with bodybuilding just starting to, emerge. Some countries have, bodybuilding has been established for many, many years. It's very interesting to see the difference. But as a Generation 9 Fitness Network, our objective is to be a real media platform for bodybuilding, to respect bodybuilding, and to really put it more on the map, to bring it more to the mainstream. But make different original films, original series, and bring it to the viewers all around the world. That's our mission.
Right, and Kai Green, did you ever have the opportunity to compete against Ronnie Coleman?
Absolutely not. I was afraid. I was absolutely afraid. But you know what? With respect, with absolute respect, and I for a long time have referenced.
All right, well, we got to cut this short. We're going to be starting this competition very shortly. Right now, we're going to take a sneak peek at the Ronnie Coleman story.